Generally, I found with my studies that historians, as a sort of breed of academic, were particularly conservative in a sort of outlook and perhaps tendency. And I don't know, I felt talking to other friends and sort of getting a knowledge of the way other degrees are and the way courses are organised, that it was a more general problem, even in subjects which might seem more inclined to be direct and contemporary and relevant, like politics or economics, that there was a sort of tendency of universities in Britain to be conservative. Partly, I think it's the sort of inbuilt nature of any institution. There's a tendency to ossify, and unless there's forces for change and which stir things up and move on a bit, it can tend to stick. I think in Britain you have a particular problem with certain universities, Oxford and Cambridge most notably, are known to be good and known to be old, and are presumed that well, this is the way things are. We've always taught this way, that the course has always been like this, and that we should stick with the way things are, and that there's a terrible difficulty to sort of integrate intellectual advances. I think it's particularly bad in Oxford as a university. Cambridge has always had a slightly better reputation for being advanced. It's, as I say, it's particularly bad in certain subjects. It seems to me, I think it's my misfortune to have done history, and that it's one of the more conservative ones. But even in a subject like English literature, you'd have an undergraduate degree in Oxford, hugely based on sort of taking courses in Yeats and Eliot, and then you have, out of a whole 3 years, you have 6 weeks doing literary theory, and in this you're supposed to encompass, basically the sort of intellectual history of the last 30 years, and the rest of the time you're dealing with the texts of Yeats, Eliot, Milton, Shakespeare, in a sort of workman-like, common sense analysis, and really it doesn't seem to me to reflect a lot of the sort of scholarship that might be going on in America or France or elsewhere, or certainly in Britain. It doesn't in a way reflect what the people who'd be regarded as the leading authors, people like Terry Eagleton and Anthony Easthope and whatnot. It doesn't really reflect the sort of things that they're writing about. So it does seem unfortunate, and in a way the universities that are new and where there is a dynamic for change. It's very interesting that what used to be called the polytechnics, which is about half the universities in Britain, which were set up in the 1960s, they're obviously much more open to changing their curriculum and incorporating new ideas, and the sort of what's the discipline of what's now called cultural studies. Most of the polytechnics have a department of cultural studies, whereas in the older universities, sort of some of the most in the newer universities, in the older universities, sort of cultural studies is done by the sort of back door in departments of sociology and departments of English, and it's sort of almost absurd in the way that you could go to Oxford and you couldn't almost directly study the way the media works, how media texts work, how film works. Yet so much of contemporary culture is in those formats, and that you have to do it by a back door through, reading the works of people who are in English departments and supposedly doing English literature. And it can be sort of depressing that there's so little change and so little regard for the contemporary world.